Look, my friend, Islam and the dhimmi system reshaped the life of the Jewish community in Morocco because the tolerance and security in which they lived provided them with unprecedented opportunities for prosperity in science and arts, and even in religious and spiritual aspects. The Islamic Maghreb produced brilliant Jewish thinkers such as Moses ben Maimon, Judea di-Alawi, Ibn Gabirol, and the Granadan politician Youssef ibn Nagrila. The Jewish influx to Morocco was renewed again during World War II between 1939 AD and 1945 AD, specifically when Adolf Hitler was able to come to power in Germany and took over France, which also came under Nazi rule. At this moment, the Jews, especially in France, began trying to escape by any means between Nazism and Hitler's brutality to a safe country. It was one of the first countries, Morocco, to manage the Jews after their migration to Morocco during World War II, taking advantage of the status of dhimmis there to escape from French colonialism under Nazi rule in France. Because the king of Morocco at the time, Sultan Mohammed V, refused to hand them over to Hitler or France and said, "We do not have Jews and Muslims, we have Moroccans." But even after the issuance of the Vichy Law, which is a law based on anti-Semitism, and whose purpose was to enslave the Jews and remove them from life and professionalism, and also negative all their possessions. But Sultan Mohammed V negotiated with the French general, and Mohammed V managed to preserve the rights of the Jews in Morocco in civil and religious life, and limited the use of this law to the political and economic fields only. And that is why a large number of Jews to this day remember Sultan Mohammed V with all good, and some of them keep his picture in their homes. Because Mohammed V embodied a wonderful position, from unity and protection for the Jews, at a time when many Jewish communities in other countries were facing genocide. Rabbi Abraham Saba, 78 years old, who spent his entire life in Morocco, said that the Jews feel absolutely safe in Morocco and that they have coexisted in peace for hundreds of years with their Muslim cousins. And there was no racism against them, and the credit for this goes to the kings and sultans of Morocco, especially. Mohammed bin Saba talks about the relationship between Moroccan Jews and the kings of Morocco, and said that most of the kings of Morocco never differentiated between Moroccan Jews and Muslims, and that many Jews held important positions in Morocco. Saba also said that he has a good relationship with King Mohammed, and that when he visits Fez, he greets him and congratulates him on the occasion of religious holidays for the Jews, and also stood by him during his health crisis. The rabbi revealed an aspect of Jewish life in Morocco and said that one of the most important holidays for Moroccan Jews is Eid. بيساخ أو عيد الفصح اللي مش بياكلوا فيها أي حاجة فيها خميرة، وبعد عيد الفصح بيحتفلوا بعيد الميمونة، واللي أصبح عيد عالمي بيحتفل باليهود في كل العالم، وبتقوم في العائلات بإعداد المخبوزات والحلويات ودعوة الأهل والأصدقاء. وقال إن كان في أحياء كاملة في المغرب كانت بتتقفل لما بيخرجوا يحتفلوا بالعيد، ده في الحدائق والمنتزهات. ده غير إن يهودي المغرب بيحبوا يحتفلوا كمان بعيد شفعود المذكور في التوراة وغيره كتير. Among the holidays, the Moroccan Jew, Suzanne Abitar, also stated that the Jews lived in Morocco in peace for many centuries and were able to build their homes, schools, shops, and synagogues with complete freedom. Suzanne says that the neighborhoods of the Mellah, where the Jews used to live, were sometimes the center of vibrant trade in the heart of the city because they included many markets, in addition to the commercial activities in which the Jews excelled, such as crafting and selling jewelry, weaving wool, and trading tea. Muslims used to buy these goods from the Jews, and they would re-export them to the rest of the city. In addition, Jews lived in the neighborhoods of Morocco next to Muslims in an atmosphere of respect for the customs and traditions of each religion, and they used to share some celebrations and sorrows. Some researchers mentioned that Jewish neighborhoods were always close to the palaces of the rulers, due to the Jews' skill in making jewelry and ornaments, and to ensure that the Jews would be safe near the places of the kings. I also remember that Muslims used to help Jews on Saturdays, which are days of rest and worship for Jews. In general, researchers agreed that the Jewish presence in Morocco caused economic growth and movement in the cultural field. The migration of Muslims and Jews from Andalusia in particular. My friend, it was one of the most important migrations that formed the culture and civilization of Morocco, and this is because Andalusia, before its fall, was very advanced in civilization, And this made a great revival in Morocco in writing, singing, and music. And the publication that happened in the fields of philosophy, poetry, and science, in addition to the fact that the Jewish immigrants were able to develop their own culture, way of life, and their state, meaning that although the immigrants at the time of the fall of Andalusia were losing all the property they owned, meaning they were financially losing, but they were loaded with a moral, cultural, and artistic heritage, and the Jews were also able to introduce the Hebrew language to the dictionaries of Morocco and create a linguistic heritage that was added to the languages existing there. But despite the peaceful coexistence and privileges that the Jews enjoyed in Morocco, their ambitions and dreams in the land of Morocco were much greater than that. They dreamed of establishing a homeland in a state of their own on the land of the Islamic Maghreb. One of the proposals of Herzl, the first leader of Zionism before the occupation of Palestine, it was to establish a homeland for the Jews on the land of Morocco, and had Herzl not died suddenly, the State of Israel would have been established in Morocco instead of Palestine. In 2020, the Yedioth Ahronoth newspaper revealed a secret document about a plan to settle Russian Jews in Morocco. This secret document, which dates back to 1903 AD, revealed that there was a plan to settle the persecuted Jews in Russia in an alternative homeland in Morocco. In the same year, Herzl thought about establishing a homeland for the Jews in the Wadi al-Hisan region in southwestern Morocco, which was revealed in a secret letter that Herzl sent to his close friend and British activist Joseph. But Herzl's sudden death canceled all this plan. Also, my friends, several centuries before Herzl's plan, which never saw the light of day, to establish a homeland for the Jews in Morocco, Morocco witnessed an attempt to establish a Jewish state on its land, and this attempt was at the hands of Harun Mashal, who exploited the tension in Morocco during the Saadian era in 1610 AD, and this was after the Bride's Affair and the entry of the Saadian sultans into a bloody conflict over power. These events caused chaos that led to the deterioration of the Moroccan economy and the spread of famine. And with the intensification of the conflict, the tribes in Morocco began to get out of control, and each region there became subject to a local political authority. And among these authorities was the authority of Harun ibn Mashal in the Taza region, and Harun was born in the city of Oujda and was a Jewish woman who had great experience in trade. But Ibn Mishal was a greedy, and ill-natured man. Harun bin Mushagal was able to tyrannize everyone around him and was able to establish for himself a large force that would protect him at all times. Harun's power began to increase with the collapse of the Saadian state, and Harun began to find a suitable opportunity to announce the region that he controlled, a Jewish state in central Morocco. According to the historian Abdul Hadi al-Tazi, the state of Israel was about to be established in the city of Taza and flow to the city of Fez, and from there to the rest of the Maghreb. But what saved the situation was a young Moroccan who was studying at the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Fez. This young man was al-Rashid bin al-Sharif, who later founded the Alawite state. Al-Rashid knew what Harun was planning, so he set traps for me and were planning to kill me and seize all his wealth and his military power, and thus Rashid was able to unite Morocco once again and eliminate the most heinous attempt by the Jews to control Morocco. Now, my friend, let me talk to you about the reverse migration that the Moroccan Jews carried out. This time it was migration from within Morocco to Israel. But let me tell you first that according to the Israeli newspaper Jerusalem Post, the migration of Moroccan Jews to Palestine did not begin after the establishment of the Zionist entity in Palestine, as everyone thinks.